We have State Assemblyman Nathan Fletcher, who represents the 75th District and is staying busy running for mayor.
Very busy.
How's the campaign?
It's great. It is a lot of work and a lot of endeavor, but it's a really exciting time, I think, for our city to have this great debate about the future. I mean, we're not just picking a mayor. We really are picking a direction of our city for the next decade, and there's a lot of interest and excitement out there, and I've enjoyed every minute of it so far.
I talk to a lot of our viewers every chance I get, and they vote. And there's a perception that state government is a lot more broken right now than the government of San Diego. Why not stay in the state where you're building good inroads and making a name for yourself?
Well, I think there's a number of reasons. I feel personally a little more geared towards a mayor's office. I really enjoy taking a big problem, identifying a big solution, building a coalition, and fighting hard to get it done. But I also think that it's time for our city. You know, our city has been through a rough decade, and I think in so many ways it is time for somebody new, for someone to come in who's maybe not tied to a lot of the problems of the past, to bring some new ideas, some innovative ways of thinking, a new generation. And then the third reason is personal. I love San Diego, and this is my home, and I care a lot about the city and its future. San Diego welcomed me home from 2 deployments. It's where I got married, bought my first home. Both my boys were born. And I see a really bright future for our city. But I think it's going to take the right leadership and the right team, and so I feel this is the right fit.
You mentioned your military service, which is distinguished, and you've gotten a lot of props for your work in Sacramento.
Right.
Do you worry that it will hurt you as you run for mayor here, that you don't have chief executive experience like some other candidates might?
Well, I actually think my experience is one of our strongest assets when it comes to this race. I mean, we've demonstrated whether it's leading people in combat, the ability to make difficult decisions in the most stressful environment. And then just as importantly, we've added to that experience by demonstrating in a political environment that we can build a coalition. You know, so much of being mayor is not about management, it's about leadership. And leadership requires you to bring people together to build that coalition and get it done. And we've done that in Sacramento, whether it was Chelsea's Law, whether it was tax reform, working on education policy, time and again, we've demonstrated an ability to put those coalitions together, to bring people to the table and across party lines and actually deliver results and get things done. And I think those two combined with being new and representing a new generation give us a great platform to run for mayor.
Carl DeMaio and his campaign have been a bit vocal lately.
Yeah? That's not new.
You had come out with essentially a jobs program.
Right.
And probably within hours of your doing this, they put out a press release, essentially saying, and this is one of his spokesmen, saying, after reading the email several times, which basically outlined your plan, and I'm quoting here, I concluded that Assemblyman Fletcher's reference to fresh eyes and new ideas must be a veiled compliment to the work Carl DeMaio has done on this issue over the past 2 years. After all, imitation is the ultimate form of flattery. It goes on to say, we look forward to seeing future policy positions by Mr. Fletcher and recommend that he review additional initiatives from Carl for continuing inspiration.
Nice.
Your reaction?
Well, look, this is just Carl being Carl. You know, we've watched this for years. He kind of has this hysterical Mike Aguirre thing he does. But, you know, at the end of the day, he's a smart guy. And he knows they're different. But I don't care who gets the credit for it. I just want people to have jobs. It doesn't matter to me whose idea it was. It doesn't matter to me whose inspiration it was. What matters to me is that we're taking not only a plan and ideas, but we have an ability to work with people and actually get it done, and they get jobs. And if someone has a job, it doesn't matter to me who gets the credit for it.
What strikes me also as a journalist is that we have, and hopefully this won't sound cynical, but there are a lot of common denominators of what people think is wrong with the city and what should be fixed. So we hear a lot of the same ideas, and all of them are very sound. So I think for a lot of voters it becomes what distinguishes one person from another and who really can get things done. So how do you make yourself stand out in this field of some pretty good candidates?
Well, that's where I think we have a great advantage in this race. And people out there that have never been involved in campaigns have joined our effort and said, hey, we are ready. We are ready for something new. We're ready for someone not tied to the last decade of problems at City Hall, someone to come in and stop talking about where we've been. You know, you got a lot of candidates living in the past talking about where we've been. I want to talk about where are we going to go. And I think that gives us a tremendous opportunity. We've demonstrated an ability not only to have a plan and good ideas, but a demonstrated track record of an ability to bring people together and actually get them done.
What kind of job do you think Mayor Sanders has done?
I think Mayor Sanders has been the right mayor for the right time. And I think when he came in, you got to go back to that period of time. The city didn't know how many employees it had. It was really struggling. And I think history will look kindly on Mayor Sanders' tenure. But the next mayor is a different job. The next mayor really needs to talk about where do we need to go as a city over the next 20 or 30 years to drive a conversation about our economic base. And how do we go from America's finest city to the world's most innovative city? How do we begin to embrace technology and innovation and reinvent the way our city delivers services and put San Diego on a pathway for a bright and prosperous future? And so I think the next mayor is a very different job.
If you win, what's the first thing you do?
Well, the first thing we do, I will hug my kids and my wife and celebrate a year and a half of hard work.
You have a 3-year-old,
but
right?
As far as the work goes, the first thing we've got to do out of the gate is going to be getting the final pieces of our fiscal house in order and building that foundation, catching up our deferred maintenance. The quality of your road says a lot about who you are as a city. Get that solid foundation with the budget in line, the pension system in line, the deferred maintenance caught up, and then we'll really talk about where do we want to go as a city, building on that solid foundation.
Nathan Fletcher, thanks very much for the visit.
Thanks for having me. Good to see you.
Good luck.